what you're saying there, when people read slowly, or when they read the Bible, or even when they watch movies and they become lost in them, in that they feel like they're experiencing what's happening in, say, the movie or the story.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that if it's a good story, it speaks to us, it speaks to our human nature. And so it's not like movies like superhero films, to me, are not dissimilar to say stories in the Bible, in that objectively I don't believe they're happening, but you do get lost in the story. And I think that's because, say, in a superhero film, the reason we get lost in it is not because the superhero is invincible and he's able to do anything and that's the end of the story. The reason is because the hero has some sort of vulnerability or some limitation. And so that's maybe what speaks to us, because we have our vulnerabilities and our limitations. And that's why we connect to these people, even though they're big superheroes with superpowers and ridiculous big arms and stuff like that. We still relate to them. And it's maybe the same in the Bible.
You identify with them, right? And the Bible is full of very real human beings. I wrote a book called on the Bible as a developmental process. The Bible as Dream is the title of the book. And I look on the Bible as a development from early stage of consciousness to a very advanced stage of consciousness in the figure of Jesus, who is all about service. And it moves on a trajectory over a high point of David, who is the king. David and Solomon are the great kings, very human figures. And Jesus, a very human figure, but advanced in consciousness from ruling to serving. That's what was said about Queen Elizabeth today as well, that she didn't rule, she served. It was all about service. And we see that as a very high level in all the religions. That service is a high level of consciousness where you don't put yourself in the center. You are in the service of the good in the world. Doctors working with their patients to heal them, not hurt them. Therapists trying to help their clients become more conscious and live a better life. So this, and the Bible is different from most other mythological systems in that it isn't filled with gods and goddesses and so on. They're human beings, but they, and we can identify with them. And we can identify with Jesus. He was a human being, Jesus of Nazareth. But he was more than that. And so that more than is what's so interesting to the imagination. And Jung would say we're all more than that. Jung has a famous sentence in a book that he wrote about the Bible called Answer to Job. It's a very controversial book and disliked by sort of conservative theological people. But in that book, he said, he uses a phrase, the Christification of many. He says, it isn't meant that only one person should become Christ. Many should, all should become Christ. And what he meant by that wasn't to become superheroes or to become divine in the ordinary sense, but to connect with the what he saw as the divinity within. You know, that everybody has this divine spark, could say, within themselves. We call it the soul, the immortal soul, the part of ourselves that exceeds our waking life and our physical body's existence. So to connect to that and to live both your normal life and that life, that eternal life that inhabits your soul, to live them both is to become Christified. That's what Jesus did. He said, I and the Father are one. Well, he was a human being and he died on the cross and was buried and everything, but he was also at one with this other dimension. And so I think that's basically what Jung's religion would amount to. he believed in connecting to the eternal, immortal part of ourselves through inner work. And he had various methods for doing that. One is to follow your dreams. The other is to do this active imagination work, which is like meditation. And over a period of time, you will, if you stay with it, and it's hard work, you will discover something within yourself that looks like the immortal core of your personality. Maybe it has another name or it has another dimension. So that's, deep inner work to arrive at that two-dimensionality, you could say.